Good day, grade sevens. I hope you're all fine and well after this weekend and that you all have a wonderful weekend. So you will see today's lesson. The topic is about what do managers do. But before we start, let's just start like normally by greeting each other in the chat box. Right, so as I said, the topic for today is what do managers do? And we're first going to start with what is management. And they say we define management as the process of coordinating, integrating work activities so that they are completed efficiently and effectively with and through other people's is called management. And actually at the end of the day is what is management, and that is what a manager must do. So a manager must do management in a business or in a specific department. So it is the process of coordinating and integrating work activities. So at the end of the day, that everything in the business can work efficiently and effectively. Right, then I've put there a slide in for you. What does a manager do? He needs to plan there on the left-hand side at the top. He needs to organize and implement what he has planned. He needs to direct employees. He needs to evaluate goals and the employees and resources. And he needs to monitor the goals. So a manager, he needs to plan what he wants to do in the business. He needs to organize it. He must direct employees in a certain way. So actually there his leadership styles will come through. And then whatever his goals is, he needs to monitor his goals and evaluate them at the end of the day. Okay, again, they say there what managers really do. And then you will see it there in the middle. It is saying networking, leading, creating, and balancing. And we're going to look at each one of them now. Okay, so if we look at networking, networking is saying building trust to get things done, representing. So the best way for a person that is going to be a manager that needs to network is, you won't believe it what I'm going to tell you. Networking is meaning that he must communicate with other people. And networking is actually very good when people are actually braaiing with each other. Okay, you won't believe it. Because when they braai, people are talking with each other. Networking is busy happening there because they will talk about a business, they will discuss things about a business. So maybe that manager, while he's talking to somebody else, he's getting some ideas to be creative that he can use in his business. And maybe he's just getting some, let's say, extra information through the networking process. Then leading is saying that the manager, he must be a controller, he must be a leader, giving pressure and fear and parenting. So he must be, a manager must also be a leader in a business. He must control his business. He must do some pressuring on some of his workers, for instance. Balancing is about internal balancing and external balancing. So he needs to balance everything in his business, from work, from his employers, employees, all those people that is involved. He needs to make sure that there's a good balance in his business. And creating, learning by doing, creating employees, care for others. So he needs to learn and create with creative ideas. He must come forward. Okay, sorry, I was just looking what was going on there in the chat box because I've noticed there was something going on there. So it looked like we have some new people in our class today. So you're welcome to the class. I'm very glad that you guys are here. So before we just going to continue, if you are new, I think the rest of the people are normally every day attending the class, so they know me by now. So I just want to tell you guys that's new that I'm Mrs. Vermeulen and I'm teaching EMS. And yeah, if you have any questions, doesn't matter if it's the work or about anything that you guys want to know, please put it in the chat box. You're more than welcome, and then I will answer it for you guys. Okay, so as I said, getting back to today's lesson, the topic, we are busy with what managers really do. I will recap now on the previous slides as well. Right, take a look at that slide that you see there. That is still about managers. Right, you see they talk about managers or administrators. That is the same persons, because normally the people that's in charge of a business, then that is manage the business, they are also the administrator of the business. And then they say individuals who achieve goals through other people. So that is who managers or administrators is. It's individual peoples, and they just have one thing in their mind, and that is to achieve their goals, what they set for themselves in a business. And then I've put there some managerial activities, 3 of them there for you, and that is to make decisions. So that is what a manager needs to do. Makes decisions, allocate resources, direct activities of others to attain goals. So managers, really, people has actually a lot of things that they need to do in the business. Okay, they're not really there to do the work in the business. They are more there to check to see if everything is going smoothly, making some decisions, want to achieve the goals, and they must make sure that they achieve the goals. So that is basically what the managers or the administrators is. Right. And still we're going to look at what managers do. Managerial work is intense and demanding. Managers plan, organize, lead, and control. And look at those 4 things that was said at that bullet. They need to plan, planning, organize, organizing, lead, leadership, and control, controlling, because we are going to look at those 4 things later in the lesson more in detail. Managers enact informational, interpersonal, and decisional roles. Managers pursue action agendas and engage in networking. Can you see there's that word again, networking? So every time when I'm talking about networking, what must you guys remember? Think of people standing around the braai and they're talking to each other about a lot of things. But I can promise you, one of the things they will talk is business, or that the person actually, or just by listening let's say, to other people, they will get a creative idea what they can maybe use in their business. Managers use a variety of technical, human, and conceptual skills, and managers can and should learn from experience. I always say, people, I actually get so angry when I'm looking at a newspaper, and in the newspaper then where they advertise jobs, for instance, and then they sometimes talk about certain jobs where you don't really have a lot of experience necessary, but then the job indication will say you have so many experience necessary, 5 years experience is necessary to do that, and you need to have a degree in that and a degree in whatever. And then I'm actually getting furious, because you know why? By having a degree is actually telling you nothing at the end of the day. But if you have the experience, the skills to how you can do it, yes, then it will work for you. A stupid example I'm going to give to you guys is, like many years ago, right, when I studied for a teacher, I was, for instance, studied through a university that is in Cape Town. They call it CPUT. It stands for Cape Peninsula University of Technology. And then with me was, this is when I've done my internship at the school. So that was my 3rd year then. okay, of studies. And then there was another girl with me from Stellenbosch University, okay, and she was in her 4th year, in her final year. But the difference was when you studied at Stellenbosch, they, for instance, only get out of the schools in their final year. But if you studied at the university that I was, then you go from the start, from your first year that you study, you go out and you have a certain a month or few weeks that you are attending at the school, and then you must give class. And that is the experience that you get. And the difference between the two of us is because remember, she was in her final year, I was only my 3rd year, that she couldn't do anything at the school. She was asking me the whole time. She didn't even know how long the lesson must be, how it's working, how she must prepare for the lesson, nothing. Why? Because they didn't go out like we did from year 1 every let's say, or once a year for a month or for a few weeks, we go to school and you get that experience. She didn't have that experience. That is why she didn't know what she needs to do. Okay, and then if you think about the 2 universities, then everyone will say, oh, Stellenbosch University, that is excellent, and oh, you are at a great university. But in the meantime, was I actually better off than what she was? So that is just to give you an idea of how important it is that you need a little bit of skills or a little bit of experience before you can go and do something. Right. What do managers do? We're going to look at the functional approach, and you guys will remember what I said earlier, those 4 words that I've indicated on the previous slide also to you. So we're going to look at planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. So not just on this slide, from the next slide, we're going to take each of them individually and going to do them more in detail. Right, but if we look at the slide, what is the functional approach of planning? It's defining goals, establishing strategies to achieve goals, developing plans to integrate and coordinate activities. So if you want to be in a business and you are a manager, if you start a new business or not, you need to plan. Okay, for every day you need to plan. Just like when I'm doing, for instance, now these online schooling with you guys, I cannot just open my laptop and start. That's not working like that. I need to plan for at least for the next week or for every day. I need to plan. We need to check what is the topic it's going to be. I must set up the PowerPoint slides for you guys, for instance. So I need to plan for it. Organizing, that means arranging and structuring work to accomplish organizational goals. So you need to organize all your things in a business. You cannot sit at the table, working at the table, but then everything is just lying around. You can't even get almost to your laptop or something like that. That's not going to work. Your environment must be organized to where you're going to work in. Otherwise, I promise you, you're not going to get your goals. Okay, and I think some of you might struggle actually on that one with organizing. So if you're sitting in there in your bedroom, for instance, check around you and think for yourself. Please don't tell me, I don't want to hear that now, but please think for yourself, oh, is my room organized or not? Okay. Next one, leading. Leadership, working with and through people to accomplish goals. So you need to work together, just not the manager or who the owner of the business is. Everyone must work together. All the employees and employers, everything must work together to make a success of a business to accomplish the goals. Controlling is about monitoring and comparing and correcting work. So controlling is actually just to check if everything is working the way it should work at the end of the day. So please remember the functional approach of management, those 4 things: planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. Right, as I said, now we're still going to take each one. Planning is the first one. So planning is the process of thinking about activities required to achieve a desired goal. It is the first and foremost activity to achieve desired results. It involves the creation and the maintenance of a plan, such as psychological aspects that require conceptual skills. I can easily, a question here will be, mention the functional approach of management with a short description or a short definition of each one. So planning is the first one, and what you can say with planning is the process of thinking about the activities to achieve a goal. Process of thinking about the activities required to achieve goals. Right, organizing is the next one. Organizing is the establishment of effective authority relationships among selected work, persons, and workplaces in order for the group to work together efficiently, or the process of dividing work into sections and departments. And look at that picture that you guys see there of the files, hey? Okay, it's organized. All right, let's say all the red files together or all the green files is together in a little pigeonhole there, right? So everything is quite organized there. So organizing, if you need to sum it up, you can say it is by the process. So every time you can say it's the process of dividing work into sections or in departments. So everything can work efficiently. Leading. Leading is the third step that is accomplished by communicating, motivating, inspiring, and encouraging employees towards a higher level of productivity. If you have a good leadership relationship with your people that's working with you, then I promise you, you're going to have the most wonderful, successful business you can have. If you're looking after, if you're in a leader position and you're looking after your people, okay, what's going to happen? They're going to like you to come to work. They're going to like to work. So what's going to happen with the productivity in your business? Okay, it's going to increase. And what's still going to happen then? Then your business and the profit that you're going to make is going to be increasing the whole time. So leadership, the third step, very important. It's about communicating, motivating your workers, inspiring them, encourage them to work hard so you can increase the level of productivity in your business. Then I said there a type of a picture there for you, leading versus managing, because that is almost the same thing, or it sounds like the same thing, but there is quite a small difference between it. I know it's not very quite clear there, but I will tell you guys what is standing there. So with leading, it's vision and strategy, creating value, influence, and inspiration. Okay, very important, these words, inspiration. Have followers, leading people. So you need to be in charge. You need to lead the people. Further on, they're just talking about different styles, like the charismatic style. That is a type of leadership style. That is usually something that you're more going to concentrate when you're in high school. So, and especially look at the last one that is saying ask questions. So if you're on a leadership position, okay, it's about the vision and the strategy of the business. How you're going to inspire, communicate, encourage those workers, okay? Tell them, if they have a problem, they must come and talk to you. They need to ask questions the whole time. Okay, well, managing on the other side, you will see the first one is saying the policies and procedures. So basically, all the how they must work, what their working hours is, their conditions, are they going to get leave or sick leave or whatever, that is going to be set up in a policy. So all those policies and procedures is by going through, but then you're in a managerial position where you're going to have some power and control over a certain section or department, for instance. So basically, again, leading versus managing is basically the same type of concept. With the leading part, it's more like where you're going to encourage and inspire people, and the managing part is more to do with the policies and the procedures. But look there in the middle, okay, where the two has been combined. Both of them, doesn't matter if it's leadership or if you manager, both of them, what is the same thing? They want to accomplish a goal. They want to explain a vision of the business, a vision and a strategy of the business. They talk about organization figureheads because either you're in a leadership position or you're in a management position. So both of them are leadership positions, figureheads. Okay, and then with both of them will make use of different resources. When we get into controlling, controlling is the final function of management in which the manager, once a plan has been carried out, evaluates the results against the goals. So after everything has been done, okay, you've planned and you've put your plan in place and you organize everything and you are in a leadership position, then you just have to control everything to see if everything is working as you expected it to work. You evaluate it, and then if there's a problem, then you must handle that problem by controlling it. Then the picture you guys will see, they say the concept of controlling. Where we are, that's measurement. Where we plan to be, evaluation. And how can we get on track again, correction. So if you look at those three circles, is right, think for yourself, let's say you're in a business, then you must think for yourself, where are we now? Are the business doing good? So you are actually doing some measurement here to see, okay, the business is okay, but actually it can do better. Or no, the business is doing great and we're just making money. Okay. The second thing is then let's say you do the evaluation of each. Okay. So yeah, we are here in the business and we're doing actually great, not too bad, but always you want to make some more money. You always want to do better. So you need to plan what you're going to do next. You're going to evaluate what you're going to do next. Okay. And then the third one, it is saying, how can we get on track again? So let's say there are some problems in your business. What can you do? How can you correct it? What can you do to change, make some changes so your business can get on track again at the end of the day? Right. Okay. So basically, remember that is the four approach functions of management: planning, organizing, leadership, and controlling. Right. Before I'm going on to the next slide, okay, I just want to quickly go back and revise on some of the things. I have also noticed some of you guys were attending a little bit late as well. Right, so we have said, what do managers do? We first said, what is management? And because with management, there must be a manager involved. So just again, we define management as the process of coordinating, integrating work activities so that they can complete it efficiently and effectively with and through other people's is called management. What a manager does. Okay, so that is what a manager must do. He must coordinate, he must integrate work activities so everything can work efficiently and effectively. Actually, what we have said with the four functions is coming in here with the slide as well. So what does a manager do? He needs to plan, to organize and implement, direct employees. This is where the leadership skills is coming through. Evaluate goals, employees and resources, and you need to monitor the goals. Just another thing about what managers really do, they need to network the whole time. That is basically communicate with people. They must take a leadership position, so they must be in control the whole time. They must make sure that everything in their business is balanced between the work, the personal life, and the people working there. And then creating is to get with a creative idea that they must come up with, normally by creating employees, or how they're going to care for the employees, or how they can learn with each other. Then we also said sometimes we don't talk about managers, we talk about administrators. That is individuals who achieve goals through other people. And then I've given you 3 managerial activities there. They need to make decisions. So these administrators or managers need to take decisions the whole time. They need to allocate resources at the right places, and they need to direct activities of others to attain goals. Then still a few bullets I've put there, what managers do. Okay, very important is they say that the managerial work is intense and demanding. Okay, it's not the easy job to be a management. Okay, if I think back, for instance, it was now, oh, when was it? Saturday. I think it was on Saturday, guys, when I went to Pep stores, for instance, and Shama, I was actually, that lady really, she was suffering the whole time, and she is the manager, and she's a good manager at the shop. But there was a guy, for instance, and he was really very ugly with her. I mean, she can also just do what she can do during this COVID time. And for instance, she was not having all the things that he was looking for. So he was screaming on her the whole time, and he was just very, very ugly with her. So as I said, to be a manager, it's intense and a demanding job. And then very important, the second bullet, and that is what we have looked at, is planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. And managers in informational, interpersonal, and decisional roles. Managers pursue action agendas and engage in networking. Remember what I said, people, networking the whole time, okay, with other people. Think of the standing around the braai and talking to each other about the business. Managers use a variety of technical, human, and conceptual skills. Managers can and should learn from experience. As I said before, it is important that before you take something in a management position that you want to do, first get some experience on that particular field. And then we have looked at the 4 functional approach of management, of planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. Okay, I will just go on to the next slide because there we have done it individually. So planning is the process of thinking about activities and how you're going to reach the goals. And then if you look at organizing, organizing is where you're going to divide work into sections or departments so everything can work together efficiently. With leading or leadership, okay, it's about communicating, motivating, inspiring, encouraging your workers. And controlling, okay, that is when once a plan has been carried out, then you need to evaluate that plan to see if you are getting the necessary results or get your goals that you were looking for. Right. In the chat box, I hope you've got your chat box open, fingers on the keyboard. I'm going to ask you a question or two, and let's see who's going to type the fastest and who can tell me, mention for me the 4 functional approach measures of management. So just mention the 4 functional approach measures of management. Let's see who's going to be first. The 4 functional approach measures of management. Actually, the one you can see. Right, let's see. The first person is saying planning, leading, organizing, and controlling. Wonderful, you're absolutely correct. Okay, what of those 4 ones? Okay, which one will be the encouraging and the motivation of your workers? Inspiring them. Which one of those 4 is about the motivation and the inspiring and the encouraging of your workers? All right, good. Okay, it's leading. Okay, I'm just thinking of a question. Next answer, I just want yes or no. Okay. Is management intense and demanding thing? Just yes or no? Is management intense or demanding? Right, yes, of course. Okay. Then just overall, if somebody can just give me a short sentence, what do managers do? Just overall, okay? I don't refer to something specific. So just overall in one sentence, who can tell me what managers do? Just overall, in one sentence, what do managers do? Let's see, there's something coming through. Okay, there's individuals that achieve goals through others. Somebody else says watch over the business and employees. Okay, the next one, it is wrong if we thought controlling, planning, organizing, directing staff. Oh, sorry about that one. Okay, so first let's get back to the question. So the question was, in one sentence, basically summarize to me, what do managers do? Right, I will definitely go for the first answer, that is saying it is individuals that wants to achieve goals through other people. So they need to set themselves a goal, and how can they do it? By the planning, the organizing, leadership and control everything in the business. But I also agree that somebody said to watch over the business and employees, because that is part of it. That is what a manager needs to do at the end of the day. Right, so of the whole few slides that you're seeing, guys, I'm telling you again, the most important part so far for today is those 4 functional approaches of management, with a short description of each one. So it's planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. Right, okay, basically, um, that will be it for today, but I first want to talk to you about something else. Okay, I think especially for the new people must listen now. You have noticed on that news thing that you received from the school that you are doing an assessment for EMS tomorrow, the 28th, right? So what is, if you don't know how it's working, you must ask now. But you're already coming from the beginning of last week already with the different subjects and the assessment of it. So I think you guys know how it's going to work. So remember what is happening tomorrow, that assessment will be open. You need to go onto the assessment. You need to complete it. When you're done, please don't forget to press the submit button. Otherwise, we're not going to get it. And then on Wednesday, then it must be done and sent off. And then by Wednesday, we are going to mark it. So that is what Wednesday's lesson will all be about, is by marking the assessment. So in your own time, you must go on to the assessment tomorrow. You need to finish it. You need to submit it. And I don't know if some of the other people informed you, but the school said if you don't submit it in time, then we can subtract 20% from your mark. And this is counting for marks. So please, 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 you cannot afford that. All right. So yes, you're going to mark it personally as well. But remember, I'm going to get it. So what is going to happen? Yes, I'm going to mark it as well, but you're also going to mark it at the end of the day, because the idea when you mark it is to see where your mistakes is going to be, and so you can correct your mistakes. But remember, when you submit it, I'm going to get it on my side. So I'm going to see what the correct marks is going to be at the end of the day. The lesson that they're trying to give to you here is so when you mark it, so you can see where your mistakes is. Right. So remember about that. That is what you need to do. You're not going to do it tomorrow in class time, okay? You do it in your own personal time, okay? And then you just send it off. So no, tomorrow we're going on with a normal lesson. But what I'm giving with this slide is to you is just what is the topics about that assessment. So if you guys want to prepare yourself, then this is the topics that you guys can look at. So history of money, trade unions, savings and investment, and then identify source documents. Just an explanation with the last one. What I mean by identify source documents is, for instance, I'm going to give you like a transaction, and then you need to identify which source document is going to be involved. So is it going to be a receipt, an invoice, check, whatever document is going to be involved here. Right. So that is the only topics that the assessment is about: history of money, trade unions, savings and investment, and you need to identify source documents. So anything else that we have done up till now, you don't have to worry about that. That is the topics that is going to be in that assessment that you need to know. Okay, so they just say here, there's something that's saying, if they give us false marks, do we send you an email? Yes, you're more than welcome to do that. You know by now, I think, what my email address is, or remember, every time on the first slide, my email address is there, and then we will look into that. Just also about that previous assessments that you have done that I'm taking now, so quite a while on. I'm busy with that. I was just very frustrated with my grade 8s and grade 9s because I've actually stopped with their assessments, and we're going to take all the work over again because they didn't do good at all. But I have scanned a little bit already through your things, and it looks much better than what the grade 8s and 9s is. Okay, so that is basically it. Is there any questions? Or any questions about the assessment that you're worried about that you need to do tomorrow? Right, so even the things, the lesson of today, for instance, that's not going to be in the assessment, so you don't have to worry about that for now. All right, guys, then that will be all for today. Go and work through these topics so you can be ready for tomorrow. And I know you're also going to maybe still have to do today's test that you need to write. So good luck on that one. And then we will talk tomorrow again, guys. Okay. All right. Have a wonderful afternoon. Goodbye.